welcome to lecture 43. In the last lecture we discussed the evolution of the urban development programs in India and key lessons what we have learned in last few decades, and we then introduced the current ongoing development programs. We discussed the main program, which is Amrut, in last lecture also in continuation of that, and we have seen that most of the cities in India, they are covered under this Amrut, which is a reform linked program like JNNURM, which started 2004, and Amrut started in 2014-15, and today we are going to discuss another very important urban mission, which is called Smart City Mission. So, we will see first the Smart City Mission, its background, the concept. We will see some world context, how the world cities are doing, and then Indian context, what is the provision of the smart cities, and few important information, so that if you work in a smart city on related organization, you can contribute. So, background of the smart cities is goes back to 1997, when the smart city, the World Forum on Smart Cities, they suggested smart initiative as a main agenda of the development of the cities, about 50,000 cities in 1997, and then many countries they adopted the suggestion and the policies about this smart city, and they tried to improve their city or develop their city in terms of the concept of the smart city. Similarly, in India, in 2014, India took a very ambitious project of developing 100 smart cities in the beginning, and then 500 another cities as future smart cities. So, we will see that in details. So, before that, let us discuss that what is a smart city. Now, this term is always sometimes confusing and we do not understand, and sometimes we confuse with other similar terms. Now, there are differences of the opinions and the meanings also, but for our understanding we must understand the basic concept, so that we can apply the concept in our practice. So, smart city have 6 major dimensions. One is smart governance. Now, when we say smart governance, that means it needs a definition and it needs a dimension. So, basically here the smart governance is basically meaning a effective governance which can deliver the services and the development as per the committed manner. Similarly, the smart people means the people or the people's organization or the public organization or the people organization, community based organizations, whether they can interact with the public agency or they can take their own decision, they can steer the development works which they need for their own. Then smart economy, the economy which creates required numbers of employment, required numbers of job for the people, and it also offers the variety of jobs, so that people get the variety and the better option. Smart living basically ensures the optimization of your time as a resource, optimization your comfort and maximization of your happiness in your living, overall living for you and your family. Smart environment, which is sustainable, the environment does not make such action which creates barrier for the future development. So, environment which allows the future development, which is sustainable, and also smart mobility. Smart mobility is basically which allows you to seamless connectivity with your work to home, home to education, education to work, like that, and with sustainable transport option, not the motorized option always. So, smart mobility, smart governance, smart people, smart economy, smart living, smart environment. Even if you take out the word smart from it, the effective level, effective delivery, effective dimensions of all this element makes a city smart. So, is the smart city concept is something different than the earlier effective or the better managed cities? Basically, when we say good governance or a better governed city, it is that a city will be a city which can deliver their services in a committed manner. But in a smart city, when we find that within their systems, within their components, there are few connections, there are integration, and there are effectiveness in terms of integration of the all systems and leading towards the better livelihood and better living quality of the people. I will come to the specific example, that time it will be very much clear. And if we come to the very specific element like economic, employment, investment and high quality of life, this is another way of seeing smart cities for our discussion. Now, there are 4 basic pillars, which is social infrastructure, physical infrastructure, institutional infrastructure and economic infrastructure. And if we can develop these 4 infrastructure in a better way, in a connected way, then we can develop economic activities, investment opportunities, employment opportunities and quality of life, these 4 which we mentioned earlier. Now, let us see the concept at the global level. At the global level, there are some confusions in terms of the definitions and their concept. So, we find 2 types of confusions are there, definition and the clarity in the approach. Earlier we had various terminologies like digital cities, intelligent cities, ubiquitous cities, wide cities, hybrid cities, information city. So, these terminologies are based on technology, which is a driving force for the development of the city. Whereas, if we see people as a driving force of the city, we have seen the term like creative city, learning city, human city, knowledge city. If we say community as a driving force, then smart community. Now, the challenge for our case or the smart cities, how to create a connection between technology and people and community. So, if we can make a connection between people and technology, that is the desired objective of a smart city. And therefore, in smart city there are basic 3 factors. One is technological factor, I have already mentioned the terminologies. Second is the human factor and third is the institutional factor, which we are discussing in this course in larger details, that is the governance factor. So, technology can drive the development through the people and that whole thing can be governed by the institutional factor or a better government. That is the another approach to identify or to analyze the city. Now, let us come to the Indian context. I have given the some text from the guidelines of the smart city guideline of the government of India. I am not reading the whole document, I will share with you definitely, but just observe few lines like there is no universally accepted definition of a smart city. It means different things to different people, but here for our case they are meaning that for India there is a different connotation and in Europe it can be different connotation, but definitely there are few parameters like reform, resources, aspirations of the city residents, and based on this our government of India, they have defined smart cities into various elements. For example, for our case the core infrastructure element in a smart city will include the water supply, electricity, solid waste management, mobility and the public transport, housing for the poor, IT connectivity and digitization, then good governance and e-governance, sustainable environment, safety and security, health and education. So, they will all this arrangement will target this smart solution. Let me discuss one by one. So, one is e-governance. In some lectures we have discussed e-governance. In e-governance all the services will be delivered through online or through online transaction. For example, public information and grievance redressal, electronic service delivery, citizens engagement, citizens to city contacts, video recording and the crime monitoring. So, these are all related to e-governance. Then waste management, waste to energy, waste to compost, waste to water and recycling. In water management, smart meters and management, leakage, water quality monitoring. In energy management, you can see the smart meter and management, renewable energy sources, energy efficiency and green building. In mobility, it is the smart parking, intelligent traffic management, intelligent integrated multi-modal transport, and apart from that there are telemedicine, teleeducation, facilitation center, skill development center. Now, in the last lecture we have seen that Amrut, which is basically targeted for the basic infrastructure, water supply, sanitation, all those and sewerage, Here you can see that the basic infrastructure is delivered in a more productive and more efficient way, that using sometimes technology, using sometimes better process and better systems. That is the difference between a smart city and the other cities. So, smart city essentially involves some different method, different approach, different systems to make a particular service or particular benefit for the people more effective, more meaningful. So, in the smart city feature there are few features, let us see. One is mixed land use. Mix in the when we discussed land use in our planning lectures, then we discussed about it. Now, mixed land use enhances the compactness and it enhances the social interactions, and there are a lot of advantage in it. So, smart city enhances or encourages the mixed land use. Housing and inclusiveness, so that it can accommodate all category of people. Walkable community, so the community will be mixing of non motorized transport, walkable tracks and cycle tracks. So, this together it will make an alternative to the motorable transport and motorable means of transport. Then open space, how a open space can create like a lung of a city, and this is connected with the walkable tracks and the non motorized transportation. Similarly, there should be variety of transport option. For example, there could be MRTS, LRTS, light rail transit system, suburban rail, bus, cycle, rickshaw, walk. So many varieties of the transport option will be available. Then citizens friendly government. We have discussed in the citizens charter and the transparency accountability lecture that a government is a good government when it interacts with the citizen in an effective manner and citizens get the services within the stipulated time frame. So, through the conduct with the government and with the local government, the citizens friendly government can be made effective in terms of the service delivery and timely delivery. That is what is intended. Identity to the city. Most of our Indian cities have their own identity in terms of their culture, heritage and the local context. So, if you make your own smart city, do not forget that what is your local context, local culture or local strength or potential element which is inherent in your city or in city population. So, emphasis on that and strengthen on that and then develop. And smart solution. When you say smart solution, the smart solution could be in terms of traffic and transportation, that you do not have to buy each and every time tickets, you just purchase one time card and you can avail any service, any type of services. For example, smart solution can be a smart citizens card. For example, for taking any citizen service, that smart card can be utilized for any further purposes. So, similarly, based on your own situation, own context, you can design your smart solution and citizens friendly solution for every services. So, these are the coverage of the smart cities. You can see that satellite cities and most of the capital cities in the population range of the 1 to 4 million and some capital areas, then some cities with importance of tourist and religious importance, and some other cities are selected, but this will be selected through a competition mode. So, it is not like other mission like Amrut or any other mission that all the cities will be covered. So, smart city is a opportunity, but is a competitive opportunity. Any city, if they wishes to bid for the smart city, they have to make the smart city plan document in such a way, so that it can win the competition. So, based on the competition, this smart city will be allotted, and the allocation from the central government will be provided. So, there are few development strategy for developing the smart city. The first is the retrofitting. The existing cities, especially in the core areas and other areas, that has to be retrofitted with the new infrastructure or the improved infrastructure. That is the retrofitting which is suggested here. Redevelopment, some of the old cities areas, some plots can be redeveloped using the mixed community, mixed economic group housing and the commercial areas, so that the older areas go away, and for that if required the city authorities they can provide additional FAR, additional enhancement of the benefit in terms of the benefit to the developer, so that the redevelopment can take place. Then greenfield development, there is a provision that apart from the existing area where retrofitting and the redevelopment is taking place, any city authority can take any greenfield area as an new urban extension. They can acquire land, they can pull the land, or they can make innovative land assembly, and then they can develop that land. So, for those kind of development also the greenfield options can be taken as a strategy, and that also is encouraged. And fourth is that a pan city development. So, in a city if there is a core city area, basically core city is an already developed city which has the dense urban area which uses the retrofitting and redevelopment area, and beyond the core city you can understand that there are other area which they are identifying as the pan city, where some amount of application in terms of the infrastructure and other application can be there in the pan city, and beyond that there could be green area. So, green area is basically new urban area, urban extension. So, core city, pan city and the new urban extension and green area, these three physical areas are making the whole coverage of the smart city as a development strategy. And another very important provision is that unlike the other programs, the smart cities will be implemented by a separate agency which will be created by the state government, and that is in terms of this special purpose vehicle they will be created, and after the completion of the smart city project they will be dissolved. So, this special purpose vehicle will be working in integration or in consultation with the local government, that is the municipal corporation or the municipality, so that there is integration between the smart city project and other projects like Amrut and Swachh Bharat mission project. So, that is the but you can understand that a specialized or a very much emphasis is given for the smart city, and that is why a special purpose vehicle in terms of the other organization has been created. Now, I have shown a screenshot from the Ministry of Urban Development website, where you can see the winning proposal in terms of the smart city and the impacted population, cost of the project, and a GIS based application based representation of the smart city projects, where you can just click and see in your city what are the smart city projects, what are going there, what are the coverage and what are the current status. There are few issues we should discuss and we should think about it, because we have just started just 2 years back the smart city development. So, in coming years more and more issues will be coming up. In terms of the sustainable development we should address in right time, that is why it is better to have some address those issues. So, first is the conceptualization and adoption. It is important to understand the definition and difference between the other cities. Then implementation framework, how it is being implemented. I have told you that it is being implemented in India through a special purpose vehicle, which is none other, which is a dedicated another newly created organization. So, integration between that organization and urban local bodies can be a issue. So, a much more integration and much more coordination is required between the local government and the special purpose vehicle, which is another organization. And selection of the smart cities. I have told you that selection of the smart cities in India is based on basically the competitive competition, and it is based on the technical quality of the document. So, therefore, whenever you are applying for smart city or making the city document, it is better to have some international exposure, some international case studies and national case studies, then make the document and submit. And role of local government, I have told that they need lot of coordination with the special purpose vehicle. Having said that, we will quickly summarize the our today's lecture. Today we have discussed the smart city concepts, some context, some examples from the international cases and some example from national cases. For international cases, we have taken some theoretical concepts and definition. We have seen that basically smart city consists of smart mobility, smart people, community, economy, employment, infrastructure, all this, and by and large basically it aims to provide effective services to the people, and the services which is integrated in manner and which is better in terms of their quality and quantity. And in India, in world, we have seen that from 1997 various countries they have started developing smart cities. Some people are calling it the digital cities, some people are calling it as separate names are there. So, smart city can be conceptualized based on some technology or some based on some people, but the main challenge is to how to connect with the technology application with the context or the requirement of the people. In India, 2014 Government of India, they have started discussing on the smart city, and in 15 they have launched the smart city mission, and under this mission they have selected about 100 smart cities based on the competition, and under this smart cities they have taken 4 main strategies. One is the area based development. Area based development is the detailed development of the core area. Pan city development is the area the development beyond the core area, and the greenfield development is the area the development beyond the pan city development in the new areas, and they have told that retrofitting and the redevelopment will be taken as a strategy in the core city area. And not only that, this development will be done by a special purpose vehicle, which is another newly created organization. The main issue which can arise here for the implementation is the integration between the special purpose vehicle and the urban local government, and also the effectiveness of the special purpose vehicle, because since it is a newly created organization. So, lot of monitoring, lot of coordination, lot of supervision is required at the state level, at the local government level. So, this has to be kept in mind while you will be working as a smart city project. So, having said that, we conclude this lecture today. Tomorrow we will discuss or next lecture we will discuss the smart the Swachh Bharat mission in greater detail, so that you can understand that what is the current focus on the sanitation and the Swachh Bharat. Thank you very much for attending this lecture.